Hey guys, Nate Duce here at Homestar again. Today, I want to talk to you about credit cards, right? What to do with your credit cards, how to use your credit cards, and really what's the best way to use your credit cards to help you have higher credit scores, right? Now, a couple of things that I've noticed in my career, and I had to learn the hard way myself, are three lessons I want to share with you, right? So the first one is, what do you do with a credit card once you have it? Is it better to carry a high balance or is it better to carry a low balance? Well, I thought when I was young that having a credit limit and using all of the credit available was actually a good thing. That was going to show the banks that I was able to charge up the credit and make my payments on time. Like that was some sort of super special thing. And it wasn't until I got in the mortgage business and figured out how credit scores are generated that I learned that actually is the opposite of what you want to do, right? You want your balances on your credit scores, on your credit cards to be below 35% of what the credit limit is. And if you're really being solid about trying to get your scores as high as you can, you want those to be below 10%. Really, that's the sweet spot. Every time we're doing credit optimization for clients, it's usually getting the credit balance on the credit card between 5 to 10% of what the credit limit is. So think about that, tip number one. Tip number two, a lot of people think that the more credit cards you have, the better, right? And I've had customers that have come in and had 20, 25, 30 credit cards. I'm like, how do you do that and keep your payments made on time? I'll share one story with you. I had about a customer who had recently immigrated to the United States. They got a social security number, they went out and applied for a credit card. In 2 years, they got one credit card, a Wells Fargo credit card with a $750 credit limit. They kept a $20 to $30 balance on the card every month, and after 2 years, they had a 750 credit score. That was the only thing on the credit report, and they could get any kind of loan they wanted because they had awesome credit, right? So you really only need maybe one, maybe two, maybe three of these guys, and then you're going to be good to go. That is going to be something you want to think about, right? If you start adding a ton of credit cards to your trade lines that you have, you're going to start to notice that at some point your scores are going to start to trend in a lower position, right? I've never seen anybody have 15 credit cards that had a higher than a 700 credit score. Sure, you'll be in the 650 to 700 range, but if you're trying to get that 740 plus credit score, you need to think about what credit cards are really important to you and keep the top 2 or 3 of them. And that's really all you need. And then once you do that, go back to tip number one, keep those balances below 10%. That's gonna be the best way to optimize your credit score, right? So 2 good tips for you there. Another thing that a lot of people, do wrong is they don't use their credit cards in the right way. What I'm talking about with that is, let's say you get a credit card like this guy, right? And you have, let's say, the misfortune you have to charge up your balance, right? And so then you get a maxed out credit card. And then you realize when you look at your bill, your interest rate's 20%, or maybe it's 29% or something absurd like that. So you get an offer in the mail all the time about these new credit introductory rates that have 0% interest on balance transfers for the first 12 months. You're like, awesome, I'm gonna take that, transfer the balance onto the new card. Well, here's what happens. You take that balance, you open a new account, you immediately max out that balance on the new card, and then turn around and close the balance on the old card, like you close out that line of credit. Well, what happens? Well, you just terminated history that's very, very important on your credit reporting. The length of time that your credit account has been opened is a massive part of how your credit score is determined. So when you get those old retail credit cards that you've been hanging on to for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, the best thing that you can do is keep 1 or 2 of those guys around and keep them with a line of credit that's open. Keep the balance down to 0, or just use it every now and then to help build your credit. But what happens when you close an account and you open an account, and you close an account and you open an account, you eliminate the length of period of time, the length of time that you've had your credit cards open, and that's really a bad thing. So those 3 things, guys, that's what I'm talking about. Is 1, you only need to have 1 or 2 credit cards to have a good credit score. Number 2, use them smart, right? Don't charge up the cards and leave them with a high balance. Keep the balances low, below 30, 35%. Below 10% if better. And then number 3, when you do have to get credit cards, you get too many credit cards and you say, okay, well, what am I going to do with all these cards? Well, get rid of the ones that don't have the longer credit history. We want to keep the ones that have the longer credit history. So there you go, guys. I hope that helps you out. Hope you have a great day. And of course, if you are looking to buy a house or finance a house, or you have questions about finance a house, I'm your guy. Hit me up. I'd love to hear from you. Have a great day. Thanks.